Girls, you're on television. You're on television. 30 seconds. It's there.
Right there in the middle. They'll get you. It'll get you.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Alderman Business Meeting. We're in the Montgomery Waterston Boardroom. This is the meeting where we vote. The first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, led by Girl Scout Troop 1088, and their Scoutmasters are Lauren Pye and Jessica Poff. We appreciate y'all. And please remain standing for the invocation to be led by Alderman Paul Montgomery, who's also our mayor-elect.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job.
Let us go to the Lord in prayer, asking for every heart to pray with me. God, we want to thank you for this Girl Scout troop tonight that you have sent to us and the display of allegiance to our flag, but more importantly, Father, allegiance to you. Father, we lift you up tonight, inviting you into our meeting. We pray, Father, that this meeting will be pleasing unto you. And we also thankful, Father, of your loving kindness, your gratefulness toward us, your spirit of humbleness toward us. Father, we pray for every man and woman in this city, continue blessing. Father, you know the needs of all of us as individuals. We pray for the children who are going back to school. We pray for a safe year for each one of them and also a good year of learning. Now, Father, we pray for the leadership of this city. Continue blessing, providing for us wisdom and guidance to do the things that we are called to do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Girl Scouts, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Recorder, please call the roll.
Mayor Schul,
Here.
Vice Mayor George,
Here.
Alderman Cooper,
Here.
Alderman Duncan,
Here.
Alderman Montgomery,
Here.
Alderman Alterman,
Here.
Alderman Phillips.
Here. Thank you. All 7 elected officials are present, as well as the city manager and appropriate staff. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we have 2 recognitions on the agenda tonight. I'd like to begin with a very special award. I ask that Dr. McCord, President of Northeast State, join the mayor at the podium, please.
Let me put my glasses on here very quickly, Mayor, if you don't mind. So I am honored to be here on behalf of Northeast State and the Tennessee Board of Regents tonight for this long overdue, much appreciated award. So this year, the award, the Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Philanthropy goes to Kingsport, Tennessee, for the support of a TBR institution, which would be Northeast State Community College. And why don't we pause here and do a round of applause? And let me add a little bit of color to that for folks who may not know the history. So in 2008, the nation and Kingsport in particular faced economic uncertainty. In the face of that, both Sullivan County and Kingsport City decided to invest in their people. So started with the Regional Center for Advanced Technology, which was on the other side of our transit station. That became rebranded as RCAT, and then now it's known as Blazer Wilson Hall. Soon after, investments were made to build the Regional Center for Health Professions, to build the Kingsport Center for Higher Education. Northeast State came along and in partnership with industry constructed the Regional Center for Advanced Manufacturing, the Regional Center for Automotive Programs, RCAP, and then subsequently RCAM Academy, and then we're currently investing in, along with the city and with the help of the city, in RCAM Community Outreach Building. So we've gone from one building in 2008 to 7. So it's the largest campus we have at Northeast State and one of the largest off-campus sites in the state. Now, in order to, the journey began with the notion that we needed to increase educational attainment and workforce development. I'm not losing you, I'm there. Okay, you're still with me? And so we'll talk about that just a little bit. So Kingsport is now the destination for 2-year medical programs in the region. Everything from registered nurses, which this past year had a 100% pass rate on the boards, to a new program, Radiological Tech, which will start in the fall. Kingsport's also the headquarters for all adult education, which would be what you would think of as GED for the region. So we're headquartered here to provide that service to our citizens. So to give you an understanding of that, 500 or 600 people a year get served by that program. Kingsport's also the multi-regional, if not the state, destination for apprenticeship education, with hundreds of people being trained in apprenticeship programs every single year. People come to Kingsport just for that, to find the best in the state, if not the nation. Kingsport's also the downtown destination for community events. So within the academic village since 2008, 4,000 non-academic events have been held. So that adds up to about 250 every year. So every working day, there's some sort of event in the Kingsport Academic Village. And then finally, since 2016, 8,000 people have completed coursework in Kingsport on their way to either a college degree or a certificate. So that is educational attainment and workforce development at its finest. Let me just say this. No possible way that Northeast State could accomplish anything like that without the help, investment, and support of Kingsport City. As a resident, I am proud of the investment, but more importantly, the foresight and the insight that happened. And as a president of Northeast State, I greatly appreciate the investment and the support. We at Northeast State feel the responsibility of that, and we commit to continue to be good stewards of that investment and support. So with all those long words, let me do this. Let me present you the Chancellor's Award for Philanthropy for 2024. We probably want to turn that way.
Okay.
And thank you for your time.
Okay, well, first, Dr. McCord, I think it's entirely appropriate that you brought adult supervision in the person of Mrs. McCord.
She told me not to go before the prayer. I was supposed to remember.
Okay. But you're absolutely right about the educational attainment level in Kingsport has increased dramatically since we began this collaboration. I'm very pleased to accept this award on behalf of the city of Kingsport. We're pleased that you're back. If y'all don't remember, Dr. McCord was working a very important job on the cabinet of the governor for several years, but we're glad he's here. And we just hope to keep this collaboration going. There's just so many new opportunities have opened up for our people to either get a 2 to 4 year degree or an important certificate in a skilled trade. And let's just keep going. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, next I'll ask Alderman Duncan to join Christy Leonard at the podium for a proclamation recognizing National Farmers Market Week.
Well, thank you so much, City Manager. And as we all know, the farmers market has really kind of turned into one of our crown jewels that we have. It's just a place of gathering where people gather twice a week now on Wednesday and Saturday, especially for this time of year. But, you know, just a little history. Our farmers market actually opened August the 3rd in 2012. And so it's been going strong ever since. And I'm glad Christy is here. She has really turned into kind of the go-to person that you're used to seeing down there every week. She's behind the pole. You ought to go on. So. She is the go-to person that people looks to for questions, and just look forward to seeing on while she's down there. And so how she handles the vendors down there has always been pretty amazing to me. So you never know who comes to our farmers market. And so last Saturday, I just happened to run into a lady, and her and her daughter visited the farmers market, and they were from near Abingdon. And so they said, we visit quite often, and we're thinking about moving to Kingsport. Now, I don't know if that was a cause for that, but anyway, that was one of the places that they do visit, and they visit regularly. So we have the proclamation here. We've got a lot of whereas and whizzes, but we're going to read this. Whereas the mission of the Kingsport Farmers Market is to provide vibrant, diverse marketplace for local and regional farmers and artisans to sell their products to the Kingsport community, and whereas Kingsport farmers provide citizens and access to healthful, locally, regionally, and produced foods through the Kingsport Farmers Market, which was recently recognized by the Southern Living magazine. And whereas farmers markets and other agricultural direct marketing outlets provide infrastructure to assist in the distribution of farm and value-added products, thereby contributing approximately $9 billion each year to the U.S. economy. And whereas farmers markets serve as a significant outlet by other small to medium, new, and beginning and veteran agricultural producers, market and agricultural products, generating revenue that supports the sustainability of family farms and the revitalization of the rural communities nationwide. And whereas the City of Kingsport recognizes the importance of expanding agricultural marketing opportunities that assist and encourage the next generation of farmers and ranchers to generate farm income to help stimulate business development and job creation and build community connections through the rural and urban linkages. Therefore, I, and for Mr. Patrick Shull as mayor of Kingsport, and on behalf of my colleagues, we hereby proclaim August the 10th as, I guess it's the 10th, isn't it? This next Saturday.
4th through the 10th.
4th through the 10th, okay, as the National Farmers Market Week. And so in Kingsport, I encourage my fellow citizens to join me in celebrating the Kingsport Farmers Market contributions into our community. And I'll give this to Christy and let you say a few words.
I would just like to say thank you to all of you that are here that support the market. Thank you to our BMA members. You know, I talk to a lot of different market managers across our region and across the state, and a lot of them don't have the support that I have, and they're very envious of that. So I know I've seen each one of you out there at the market at different times, and I know there's been times that some of you even jump in and you've helped me take out trash or pick up tables and chairs, and so just know that it's very much appreciated and it's very much noticed. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Christy, we appreciate your work and your staff's work, and of course, the farmers market's been recognized by various national and regional level agencies for excellence, so
Yeah,
keep
we're
up the
very
good
proud of
work.
that. Thank you.
Mr. City Manager.
All right, comment section.
Oh, okay. We've come to the portion of our proceedings where citizens are allowed to come forward to the podium and speak to the board. Please bear with me while I explain how that works. Citizens may speak on agenda items, that's what we're considering tonight, and issue-oriented items. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. A total of 30 minutes is allocated for public comment. Are there any citizens that wish to come forward and address the board? Please do, ma'am.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you remember me from May. My name is Misty Peters. I was here to advocate for homeless resources, and I gave you all a list. It just had a few demands on it, and I told you that I would be back in 3 months just to see which one of these we have worked on yet. I'm very glad and proud that you all actually opened with prayer. That made me feel something in my soul, because for I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer to him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you, a stranger, and take you in, and naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, assuredly, I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my children, you have done it unto me. So today I'm here to ask what I can mark off of my list, what I can go back and tell these people that has actually taken place for them. Can anyone answer that for me? Is there anything off the list that I graciously left for each one of you? Okay, well then let me start with something simple. Let's start with something simple. Let's start with the bum bars. Because those don't just infringe on the homeless rights, they infringe on my rights and every taxpayer's rights. When we walk through these parks, we can't sit, we can't stretch out. We can't have three in a row. My two children cannot sit beside me on a bench when we walk through the park. So you're not just infringing on the poor houseless people, you're infringing on me and my children. So if the bum bars could be removed, even if the city does not want to fund the money to do that, I promise you I have enough volunteers that will, and we won't destruct nothing. We'll just remove them. I just want to know what is being done. Is anything being done off of this list? I don't know if you still have your copies, but I still have mine. And Proverbs 21:13 says, whosoever shut their ears to the cry of the poor will also cry out and not be answered. Now, I understand every last one of you all up here just said a prayer. And you said it in Jesus' name, but can you tell me Jesus' address? Because Jesus didn't have a house. Jesus walked and he laid where he could. He got fed where he could. And I say to you today, what if Jesus was on our streets? Can he not lay on a bench? Can he not get water? Have a clean place to use the restroom? And I'm asking you this honestly and humbly. Help us make change. Please. They're not wasted people. If you'll go out and just spend a few minutes talking to the majority of them, they're just people who have struggled and can't afford to live in this economy because a two-bedroom is now $1,200. You only draw $914 on fixed income. I don't know if y'all know that or not. $914. And they ask you to have 3 times the rent in most places. So I'm asking you to help us help them. I'm not placing all the blame on y'all. I'm really not. But I did ask for help on just a few things. And so far, nothing has been done. And the least of these was the bum bars. That was the very least. And I really take offense to them being called bum bars, because I'm not a bum. And I like to sit on those benches with my children. And the homeless people aren't bums either. They just don't have it like I have it. I have a roof over my head. I have a car in my driveway. Well, it's in the parking lot now. I have these things because I am fortunate and blessed, because I have a mother that I take care of. Otherwise, I would be one of these people that you would take my tarp. You would take my box. You would run me off of a park because I was trying to get some rest and take care of myself out of the cold or out of the rain. So I beg you, please tell me you're going to help. Please tell me what I can mark off this list. Please tell me what we can do. I did hear the remark of there was not enough public outcry. Can my people stand? These are the people that were able to make it today. These are the people that walk with me. These are the people that help those that can't help themselves right now. Is this enough for a cry?
Ms. Peters, you've used up 5 minutes. Can you bring it to a close? Other people may want to speak also.
Can I have hers?
But that's not exactly the way it works.
How does it work?
You get 5 minutes, and if you're in the middle of a sentence,
Well, can you
Be happy
answer
to
any
let
of
you
my
finish.
questions?
the purpose is for citizens to speak individually.
My name is Ginger Smith.
Please sign in,
Yes, sir.
and your address.
My address is 280 Carr Lane South, Fall Branch, Tennessee.
You live in Fall Branch.
Yes, sir. Part of Sullivan County.
Okay.
I also am a
We'll let you speak,
Yes,
but
sir.
this is for the citizens of Kingsport.
Yes, sir, I understand. I just am representing because I'm a volunteer who serves a need, because I work in a hotel who is full of homeless people currently. We cannot really house any of the tourists who come through the area because our hotel are full of individuals who are just trying to have a home right now, a roof over their head, not really a home, because they don't have enough income to pay for housing in Kingsport, which is astronomically high. And I know you all know that. You are intelligent people. We're just looking for a solution to the individuals who simply cannot find a place now because there's nowhere to go. They have to be out on the street 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's not enough housing. We need Grace House to open, if at all possible, the shelter, to try to come to some conclusion or solution. The occurrence that happened this past weekend in the gazebo, the people who had to leave, to vacate the park because they could not be there, we are simply trying to figure out what we can do as a community. I may not be part of that community, but I'm willing to volunteer in a community that I'm not a part of, because there's a need, a huge need. I know you drive up and down the streets of Kingsport, you see the elderly individuals walking up and down the street, the mother with her children because she has nowhere to go. Hotels full of people who are simply stretching out that $914 per month. My hotel is $448 per week. Some of these hotels are $296 per week. $1,800 is more than the mortgage I paid on my home that I now am privileged to own. So as a community, again, that I'm not a part of, what can we do to help? That we work within the parameters of the existing area, that we're not violating rights, we're not causing a disturbance, but yet we're helping other people who simply just need a roof over their head. I think that's the point. And those bars being removed would help. I mean, that's the least. And we are trying to help the least of these right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens who wish to come forward and speak to the board? Yes, sir, please do.
Sir, my name is Jeff Kaiser, and I own the Shepherd's Watch Ministries.
Thank you, sir.
As most of you guys know.
Could you please sign in?
Yes, sir, I
which-
will. My address is 1249 Middlebrook Drive.
Okay.
I am no speaker by no means, guys, but let me explain something to you. Last winter, when I opened my shelter, I picked up a lady, 86-year-old, with her hip broken, sleeping in a window frame over at Steel Transfer. She was almost froze to death in 16-degree weather. Guys, we need something done. I'm not saying it's one of y'all. I'm saying together we've got to make it happen. I'm no speaker by no means, but I'm telling you, what little bit my shelter's done has kept people fed and kept them warm and kept them safe. And like I said, you know, it needs to be resolved. We've got a problem that we can't push aside. It needs to be resolved. And if any of you guys know me, you know I'm just a country boy, but I know what I'm talking about. I thank you for your time. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens who wish to come forward and speak to the board? If not, you wish to come forward, sir?
Joe Brock, 926 Myrtle. Which I'm sure everybody knows by now. Is KHRA its own entity?
Sorry?
Is KHRA its own entity, or is it a part of Kingsport?
KHRA is not formally a part of the city government.
Who do they answer to?
Their board.
Thank you. So
have a
they answer to
board,
their
but-
own board. Why are we still using an antiquated entity that's not doing their job as a development authority in Kingsport? That's a question.
You can continue.
No, that's a question. Why are we still using an antiquated
Our,
entity that's not doing their
What-
job? They
what-
have not increased their availability versus the increase of our population, which
What
is
we-
required, actually.
what we do at this board is we give citizens a chance to talk. It's not a two-way dialogue. There's other opportunities for citizens to speak to board members. But
Well,
we
the
certainly
two-way
don't- we
dialogue
don't
should be
answer
allowed. I apologize for
KHRA.
busting through on you, but I got 5 minutes. So what I was asking is, there shouldn't be any more KHRA if they're not doing their job. There should be another entity to replace it immediately and not part of the umpteen other development agencies that's named after Kingsport that's doing nothing but increasing everything to unavailability to most folks in this area. So there you go.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens that wish to come forward? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is, screw that down a little bit. My name is Elizabeth Cross.
Please sign in. What, your address?
Let's see, yes. All right.
Ma'am, where do you live?
I live in Colonial Heights off of Kendricks Creek Road.
Kingsport.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
So I've lived here my whole life, born and raised. I shouldn't be scared to stand up here and speak today because this is a public forum, and this is my right as a U.S. citizen, as I barely learned in school because, let's face it, our education system is a joke, along with everything else at this point in life. I don't mean that in a rude way. I don't mean that. It's just, I am someone who's 24 years old. You don't see a lot of young'uns like me out doing a lot of community service. The reason for that being is because we're terrified. We've been raised in a society, especially in this town, where everything's changed since we were a little girl. When I was 4 years old, I didn't have a lot of birthday parties growing up, but I did have a couple. My papa and my mom got together and we had a birthday party at the skating rink. That was the last year they were open. You look around this city, we went from 5, 6 pools to one place, one pool that is very far away from the majority of the city. We look at everything we've lost. We've not gained anything in the last 20 years, but a few fixes to the road that took a year per each project. Where are the apartments that we were promised 5 years ago that just broke ground 6 months ago? How is it that when I came before you all about West Side Inn, and I made that big speech about how you can quickly rezone these places. You can quickly make these decisions as long as it fits the agenda of what certain people want. But it's not about what certain people want. It's about the good of all. We should be using a utilitarian framework in this situation. We should be considering the morals and values of all of our city, because this situation and every other situation that's occurred that Misty read off doesn't just affect our homeless, it affects us. It affects all the citizens. Because I'm 24 and I'm almost about to be homeless myself. I haven't yet to make it out of this city, because of how hard things have been, because nobody can get help on any age demographic. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter if you're elderly. Right now we have children in the streets. We have veterans in the streets. This has been ongoing for years. Ironically, we have a major court date coming up about a lawsuit against the city for harassing a veteran trying to get a hot meal. No progress has been made since that incident came to light, because instead of protecting our innocents and allowing them the voice to speak up without being persecuted, we continue the toxic cycle of persecuting and harming our innocent citizens who are giving a voice to those who need it the most. I am a personal victim to that. As I was leaving West Side Inn one night, I'm the one that moved the majority of those people out of there. Well, moved out of there is a one-sentence statement, because they didn't go anywhere else. All their stuff, if they were lucky, went to a storage building, and they went to the streets. They weren't so lucky, they lost it all. I was very involved in that, and I've been very involved ever since about 2018, since I got out of high school in this community. And that's aside the fact of my personal experience growing up of being homeless and of searching the streets for my family because they were drug addicts. As soon as I got a car, it's what I spent the majority of my time doing, is taking care of my family. And then once they all passed away, I started taking care of other people's families, because that's just what I care to do. We're at a point in life where we can take care of each other, or we can keep this hate and division and battle going. You have the power to help people in many areas, whether it be rezoning, whether it be holding people accountable for their funding, because it's inexcusable that it's been years since these places have even, they're not being looked at, they're not being examined. Oh, it's in the works, so that's good enough for us. That's not good enough for us, because we got people dying on the streets. We are turning into LA. So if that's what we want, let's keep going down this path. But if we want better, if we want our homeless to become better citizens, because at this point, it's not just drug addicts. There are mothers, families, people who have lost their jobs because there's no housing, and the houses that are available are way above the pay grade times 3, which is what's required. So, is there any solutions that you all have to any of these issues, other than we're just twiddling our thumbs and waiting?
You've spoken for 5 minutes. Are you ready
Yes.
to wrap it up?
That's it, yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait, I do have one more question. If it's two-sided, how come you don't answer any of the questions that we ask?
Our procedure is to listen to citizens and consider what they say, and if the citizens want to meet later on and talk to one of the members of the board, that's fine. I've been mayor over 5 years, and I've spoken to thousands of citizens, or emailed, or phone call, or personal, face-to-face. We're all very accessible, but
Well, I do appreciate you taking the time, at least in those moments, because I know, and we've got ample proof of the people who you all put in charge of these situations don't answer phone calls. They give out fake numbers. That's all I got. Thank you.
thank you. Are there any other citizens that wish to come forward and speak to the board? Yes, ma'am.
All right. My name's Stephanie Hill, and I am speaking for her and speaking for myself because I am on this side. I am currently homeless, but and my address is actually 1238 West Shipley Ferry Road, so I live and work at the Super 8, and have been there for over 2 years. We lived in Knoxville, and I grew up here. My dad was a pastor of a church here for 14 years. Tim Hale, he passed away in 2017. My 71-year-old mother and my son are in one room, and me and my fiance are in another room. I have worked, and my check stub, just this past time, I have only made since January, and I'm an educated person. I've had 2.5 years of college. I was making $20 an hour before I moved back to Kingsport from Knoxville. I'm now making $9 an hour. I work at least 50 to 60 hours of overtime just to have a check for $300 for 2 weeks. My 71-year-old mother, who is sick, suffering, is working as well, trying to make ends meet. But when we first got here, the ARCH program told us that my mom had to live, a 71-year-old mother had to live in her car for 30 days before they could help her. She sold her car. We have no car. So I'm just on that side, and I know that every time that I've reached out for resources, and I've been on the housing list since August of 2022, this is a humbling experience for me because I've never had to worry about being homeless. There's a stigma, but there are good people. There are a lot of us that are out there that are working and trying to just make ends meet. And we'll be back every 3 months relating to money, especially to the money of the government, business, or organization earns, spends, and owes. I know just by going to the housing office myself that the system is a little archaic. We were there 3 hours filling out paperwork that I guarantee. My mom, she's 71 years old. It was stacks. I can see why it's a slow process. I don't know if there's funds, for that to be electronic. I've worked in the medical field, but it is I cannot see how one person, I can see why the system is so slow to get people into housing because there's only so many people, and if there's only one person who's having to process that much paperwork, that's a lot. I don't know if, I just wanted you to hear my side of the story, just to know that, there are good people, and we just need a little extra help. Instead of, it seems like everybody wants to pass the buck.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't mean to cry.
You're fine. I do want to thank y'all for letting my people speak. I'll be requesting the fiscal report for the past 6 months. And like I said, I'm coming back every 3 months to see what is off this list. This list is not hard.
Thank you, Ms. Peters. Are there any other citizens that wish to speak to the board? If not, I declare this part of our proceedings to be concluded. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we have appointments for 3 different boards. As discussed last night, we will take these with one motion. First is a consideration of appointments to the Public Art Committee. It's recommended to reappoint Joe May, Josh Reed, Jennifer Adler, and to appoint Cassidy Lester, replacing Scott Edelman. Additionally, to our tree board, it's recommended to reappoint Dan Wernick, reappoint David Williams, Timothy Martin, and Denise Isaacs. And then finally, to the Historic Zoning Commission, it is recommended to appoint Bob Regatas to the Historic Zoning Commission, replacing Dr. Aaron Reed. We'd ask that you approve these appointments to these 3 boards with one motion, please.
Thank you. As the city manager indicated, we'll consider all 3 board appointments on one motion. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Oldham. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next is approval of minutes, first from the July 15th, 2024 work session, and then the July 16th, 2024 business meeting. We'd ask that you approve these minutes as submitted, please.
Thank you. All members have been provided copies of the minutes. And let me pause here, by the way. If it looks like we go through these things relatively quickly, we've all been over them individually with the city manager, one-on-one. We've been in a work session yesterday, which is our normal practice, in which we just discuss them. We don't vote at the work session. And then by the time we reach this business meeting where we do vote, we're very familiar with the issues. But the matter at hand, is there a motion to approve both sets of minutes?
So move.
Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? They pass 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
You have one public hearing on the agenda tonight. That is a public hearing and consideration of an ordinance to amend city code as it pertains to public art and murals. Ken Weems, our planning manager, will conduct the public hearing. Ken?
Thanks so much, Chris. This item creates a definition of public art, which is essentially art commissioned by the Public Art Committee utilizing public funds, as seen on the screen there. For the definition of a mural, we changed it around to now allow lettering on murals with that definition change right there. This text amendment also, in the B2E district, removes mural approval by the BMA. Also in our B2 district as well. And lastly, it also restricts murals to the business zones of the city. Everything from our professional office district all the way up to business conference. This is a similar way to how we manage electronic message boards and our decorative lighting in our zoning code. During their July regular meeting, the Planning Commission voted to send a positive recommendation to the board in support of approving this text amendment, and the public hearing notice was published on July 25th. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Weems?
I just have a question, because I know we talked about this in the public arts, because it says murals restricted to business zones, but if I wanted to do a mural at my house, this doesn't pertain to that. I can do that at my home, because I know there's some places you get in Gibson Mill, people have painted the side of their garage. But
Well, it would restrict you from doing this in a residential zone. It'd be, as far as this mural process, it'd be strictly available to the business zones.
so I wouldn't be allowed to do anything,
Right, wouldn't be allowed to put a mural on your house if you live in a
or not my
residential
house, my
zone. Yes,
fence or my
ma'am.
gate
Or the fence or anything else, correct, ma'am.
Is that if it's seen from the street, or I mean, like if my backyard is totally private, can I not do anything there?
Well, I mean, I guess you could put one in your backyard if it's totally closed off from public view, because murals, per our definition, are, in public view. So if it's totally out of public view, you could, I guess, do it
Yeah,
and not
she had a
be
fenced
permitted
in
to do this.
backyard and the mural was facing in toward the house, and so it couldn't be seen from the outside.
Then it doesn't fit the definition of a mural, so.
Oh,
But
So you
like
can
the ones
have
on
at
Gibson
it.
Mill that they've painted the really pretty flowers
Mm-hmm.
on the side of their garage, that's not allowed anymore, according to this.
Right, yeah, it'd be a mural, yeah, exactly. If you could see it from public view, it would be, yeah. But totally fine to remain as it is.
If a citizen was confused on that, would they seek guidance from our codes people? Mr.
Oh,
Bruner?
well, actually, just, yeah, codes people, but, zoning is held within the planning department, so any of
Okay.
us in the planning department can advise or help them with anything they need.
So what penalty if someone doesn't know they can't do that and paint their garage or fence one day, there's a penalty attached to it? Because once it's painted, it's painted.
Right, well, I mean, just like any other, zoning violation, we'd send code enforcement out just to make them aware of the issue and see if they'd remove it. And then ultimately, cite them into court if they didn't, ultimately is what the penalty would be. Yeah, I mean, it just restricts murals, in public view to these business zones.
Anything else for Mr. Williams, board? If not, I declare this public meeting to be open. Are there any citizens that wish to come forward and comment on this particular item and this item only? If not, then I declare the public meeting to be concluded.
Got somebody can speak.
Oh, you do? I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
You can see me a long time ago.
Okay.
Now, on this question here, what I don't understand, a mural,
For the sake of the board, please indicate your name.
Danny Collier, 721 Midfield Avenue.
Okay, thank
I
you.
thought just about everybody knew.
Well,
Not everybody. But this mural it makes a statement. Would it not be a violation of the First Amendment to say that I can't put my voice to the public? I'll just bring that into question. If I put a political mural on my garage, who can just say I can't do that? As long as it's, I've seen signs and flags hanging in Kingsport, I wouldn't hang nowhere near my house. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. But I feel like that would, to tell a citizen you can't put a mural on your garage, that'd be a violation of your First Amendment, freedom of speech. Because freedom of speech is not limited to your mouth or whatever. It's expression. I just wanted to question that before you vote on it, because it could lead to future trouble.
You know, I'm not an attorney. Our attorney sits at the far end there. That's something I would probably have to consult with him on.
I didn't even see him in there, I'm sorry.
I mean,
But I mean, that just came to mind whenever you said you couldn't do it in the privacy of your own property. That could bring legal challenges to the city under a First Amendment violation. That's all I wanted to ask.
is this
Okay.
something that we should table again? And, I mean, this was, I guess, a little bit of a surprise, because I thought it would be permitted to be able to do that, just like a mural. I mean, if you wanted to do something on your house. And so,
I tell you what, Darrell, let me do this. Let me conclude the public hearing. You made your case. But thank you.
sorry, man.
I'll conclude the public hearing. I'll ask the attorney to publish the item, and then we can, do discussion and so forth. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance amending section 2-413 and various sections within chapter 114 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kingsport, Tennessee, relative to public art and murals, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Right.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Seconded the item. And I open it for discussion. Of course, a proper parliamentary procedure would be to ask the board to table it, but it's open for discussion. Board?
Well, go ahead,
Well,
Vice.
In looking at this, I guess my understanding, we were zoning murals for the business district. We were not unzoning murals for private property. This was just going to be, if you are in the business district, this is how murals are handled. So is there something in this specific bill or that says in a private, that how this is handled in private residential zones as part of this, or is this just how it's handled in business zones?
Ken,
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I'm gonna make a recommendation. We tried to bring this to y'all twice. Both times we can't seem to get it right. So let's pull it from the agenda and maybe we'll bring it back.
The city manager made a suggestion. Would someone like to make that in the form of a motion?
I'll make that in the form of a motion.
So moved by the vice mayor, seconded by Alderman. Mr. Attorney, I believe I'm correct if we vote on the motion to table.
Correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion to table this action, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's so moved that we table the item, and Mr. City Manager, we appreciate you taking another look at it. Next item.
Next item is consideration of an update to the Stormwater Management Ordinance to meet the 2024 Small Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4, permit issued by the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. We went through this in about 60 minutes of presentation yesterday. Very good presentation in terms of the detail that is necessary for us to be in compliance with TDEC, but more importantly, and a statement that is listed within here that I would like to read is that this has been done in conjunction with the region in order to ensure that there is a consistency, if you will, across the various cities that are permitted through MS4. And so what we're bringing to you all tonight will update our ordinance to meet the new requirements that's required to go into effect by September 1 of this year. And so if there's any questions, I'll ask Ryan to come up. If not, I'll ask that you all approve this ordinance on first reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Kingsport, Tennessee, Chapter 38, Article 3, Stormwater Management, to provide a penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the vice mayor. And regarding discussion, yeah, I'm trying to look at this and not make it any more complicated. And it appears to me that the staff has crafted an ordinance here that will enable us to comply with our state government mandate, and they're complying with the Environmental Protective Agency issuing a legal guidance on how this subject of stormwater management should proceed. So I'm trying not to make it any more difficult. My concern is that our city staff make sure that our developers, our folks who build a new home and so forth, that they understand these requirements, and we aid them so it doesn't become any more onerous or difficult to comply with. Board discussion?
Are you gonna represent Ron?
No.
I want the whole presentation again.
Y'all have anything?
I told
for
Crystal I
Ryan, or-
wouldn't be on till 11.
If no other comments, then all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good job, Ron.
Passes 7-0 on first reading. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a budget ordinance for various funds in fiscal '24. Focusing on a couple different areas here. First is moving some dollars around within our urban mass transit fund or public transit CATS. Also moving some money around in the general fund for an HVAC project, and then moving some money around for the new cooling tower that is going in at Meadowview, a partnership between two owners, City of Kingsport and Eastman. We'd ask that you approve this budget ordinance on first reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30, 2024, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the vice mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, again, this is a first reading. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a budget ordinance for various funds in fiscal '25. As you look through here, first couple of sections deal with money received as well as money moved around. Some of this is going towards our concrete road and sidewalk project that we'll be lining out over the course of the year. Midway through, you see we're receiving $5.6 million from Sullivan County for their portion of the Justice Center, which we greatly appreciate. Also making some adjustments within that as part of the bid included work to the parking garage, so ensuring that those funds are 100% city dollars. And then also at the same time, setting ourselves up for the purchase of some bear carts. We'll have more information on that as that comes about. This is the first step to get those purchased. But again, several things within this. I will point out, we did receive very favorable bids for the Justice Center. We'll probably bring that to you all in September for approval. With that, I'd ask that you approve this budget ordinance on first reading, please.
Thank you. And let me say to our public that we just passed a budget back in June that went in effect on 1 July, and, you know, why are we altering the budget now? This is a common practice. The main point is we're not exceeding the amount of money totally that we'd allocated. We just moved around as circumstances change. Mr. Attorney, please publish the item.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30, 2025, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan, seconded by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? It's a first reading. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, next item is consideration of an ordinance to amend zoning of tax map 77H, parcel 1.10, and a portion of parcel 2 located along Riverbend Drive from B4P Planned Business District to PD Planned Development District. This comes to you on second and final reading. I ask that you approve this ordinance, please.
I remind our citizens, second readings of an ordinance require a roll call vote. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to further amend the zoning code text and map to rezone property located along River Bend Drive from the B4P Planned Business District to PD Planned Development District in the 11th Civil District of Sullivan County to fix the penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Alderman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
I abstain.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye.
Alderman Alterman,
Aye.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 6-0-1 with one abstention. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a budget ordinance for various funds in fiscal '25. We'd ask that you approve the budget ordinance on second and final reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30th, 2025, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye.
Alderman Alterman,
We.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
I didn't know you spoke French, Tommy.
I'm getting a little bit better at my French.
It's the Olympics, I got it. 7-0, it passes. Aye on my part. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of an ordinance to amend the fiscal '25 general purpose school fund budget. This comes to you on second and final reading. We'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the general purpose school fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I think Tommy
There.
beat you.
Okay.
Moved by Alderman Alderman, seconded by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye.
Alderman Alterman,
Aye.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Aren't you glad we're through the second readings?
All right. Moves us into other business. First item is consideration of a resolution approving the 2024 amendment to the Tennessee State Subdivision Opioid Abatement Agreement and authorizing the mayor to execute a subdivision participation agreement relative to the Kroger settlement. Again, this allows us to move forward with this. We'll have more information on this as it is rolled out in terms of what the dollars can be used for as well as the amount. First step first is to sign on to the settlement agreement, which is what you're being asked to do tonight.
Great explanation. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city of Kingsport to join with the state of Tennessee and other local governments in amending the Tennessee State Subdivision Opioid Abatement Agreement, approving the related settlement agreements, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement and any other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement or this resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a resolution to award the bid to Traction Construction, Inc. for the waterline upgrades for Sullivan County Water Project and to authorize the mayor to sign all applicable documents. This is being funded through Sullivan County's portion of the American Rescue Plan. These are replacement of existing lines located outside of the city of Kingsport, but yet in our utility district. This is awarding the bid for this work as described here in the executive summary of this action form. And we'd ask that you approve this resolution allowing us to proceed with this work.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution awarding the bid for waterline upgrade for the Sullivan County Water Project to Traction Construction Incorporated and authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement for the same and all documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of resolution authorizing the mayor to execute all documents necessary to apply and accept a Section 5307 TDOT capital grant matching contract for transit vehicle replacements in the CATS fleet. See here, the funding for this would allow for bus replacement as well as a staff vehicle replacement. This action form moves into place the state money. The federal and local is already in place. As we've discussed in here before, it has been very difficult, if not near impossible, to get vehicles purchased based upon our needs. We are now in a position to be able to move forward that with identifying some vehicles, and this action form will move us one step closer. We'd ask that you approve the resolution, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Tennessee Department of Transportation to accept matching Section 5307 capital grant funds and all of the documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of this resolution.
And I'd point out to our citizens that between federal and state funding, that covers 90% of the cost. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the vice mayor, seconded by Alderman Duncan. Duncan? Okay, I thought I heard you. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a resolution to enter into an engineering agreement with CDM Smith for a wastewater treatment plant headworks assessment. As you know, our utilities work off of a master plan. That master plan guides their work. As we move forward with the implementation of that work, especially that is as expensive as the EQ Basin and some of these other projects are anticipated to be, it's kind of falls into the line of measure twice, cut once. This document will allow us to move forward with some additional evaluation in order to make the best recommendation for the biggest bang for our buck in order to properly manage that system. We'd ask you approve the resolution authorizing the contract with CDM.
And eventually, we'll have greater storage capacity for wastewater,
Yeah.
which is important toward growing the city.
Absolutely.
Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving an agreement with CDM Smith for a wastewater treatment plant headworks assessment and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement and all the documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a resolution to cancel services with Verizon Connect for GPS services and utilize Samsara Inc. through the Tennessee state contract. We currently have GPS on many of our vehicles, not all, that has been historically provided through Verizon. Staff is making a recommendation to move that to Samsara. We're asking that you approve the resolution authorizing us to enter into this contract.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but by utilizing a Tennessee state contract, we realize some savings here.
We do. That work has already been, the bidding, the vetting, all the work necessary to collect that bid has been done by the state. Cities and counties have the opportunity to piggyback on many of those bids.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a change order to cancel GPS services with Verizon Connect and authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order for GPS services from Samsara Incorporated utilizing Tennessee State Contract Number 71019.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Who went first?
Betsy.
Seconded by Alderman Cooper. Thank you. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of resolution to apply for and receive Tennessee State Library and Archives construction grant. This is a grant that we've had our eye on ever since beginning the process of moving forward with plans to renovate our library. This is a $200,000 grant. It does have a 10% match. Of course, your matching dollars are already budgeted as part of the overall project. We're looking at several grants to aid the dollars that are already set aside for this project as we move ever closer to bidding that out. We'd ask that you approve the resolution allowing us to proceed with this grant.
Thank you. I'm looking at Mr. Borders. I'm feeling pretty good about this one. All right. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute all documents necessary and proper to apply for and receive a Tennessee State Library and Archives construction grant.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's moved by Alderman Alderman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a resolution to amend and expand the Riverbend redevelopment district and approve tax increment financing for the Arbor Townhome project. A couple things as we go into this. We were notified earlier today that Arbor Townhome already exists, so we're gonna have to come up with a different name for that. But in addition to that, as we went through last night in a presentation regarding this, this is expanding a district that was initially created in 2015. It was expanded in 2016, and there's a recommendation to include the last two parcels that are part of what I would consider that traditional district. With this, the developer is looking to build rental units on that site. And in addition to that, they're asking us for tax increment financing in the amount of about $1.1 million. The majority of those dollars, or over half of those dollars, I should say, will go back into public improvements that we have identified or have jointly agreed upon with the property owner. First is the build out of a parking lot that will support the Riverbend Park, which is a newly opened park there, something that we had identified in the master plan. We knew at some point this would be something we would want to do. This provides a pathway for that. In addition to that, we have an opportunity working with the property owner to channelize a storm line that is running through that property. That really provides some insurance in the event that line was to fail in order to protect what is up above that, being businesses, major arteries and with Fort Henry Drive and neighborhoods. As we look at this project and we look at some of the reasoning for the expansion, one, you have to look at the precedent that was set with the expansion. You also have to look at some of the challenges, elements of this site are up against with sinkholes, storm lines, other utilities, deed restrictions from surrounding properties, all of which create some challenges that do make it somewhat different from other projects that would be in this type of development. Kingsport Housing and Redevelopment Authority has approved this. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen is receiving it tonight. The next step would be for this to appear before the county. Sullivan County Commission, it's my understanding it'll be on their August agenda. I'm happy to answer any questions on this. Jessica Harmon, who has worked quite a bit on this, is also here to answer any questions on this that you might have. Mayor?
Thank you. As far as that new name goes, I was thinking Alderman Shoal Acres has a nice ring to
Yeah,
it.
it does.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Don't write that down.
Wait 30 days and it won't matter. You can, there
Yeah.
won't be anything wrong with doing that.
Yeah. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving the redevelopment plan and tax increment financing amendment for the Riverbend Development District for the Arbor Townhome project area.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. Let me say, I guess I've been briefed on this 5 times, and each time I feel better about it because there's a lot of moving parts here, and all of us have been briefed extensively. I give it full support personally, but it's open for discussion. No discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
One abstention. Any opposed?
Aye or nay.
Okay, then that means it passes 5-1-1. That means 1 opposed, 1 abstained.
Who was against it?
The vice mayor indicated her opposition.
Oh, you're against it? Claudette, you went against it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is America. She can
I
vote
know,
that way.
But I had the right to ask who voted.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. City Manager.
All right, move into the consent agenda. We have 5 items on the agenda. I'll read through those. If you'd like any of those pulled for additional discussion, please let me know. First is consideration of a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding with Kingsport City Schools as required by the State of Tennessee School Resource Officer Program grant. Second is consideration of resolution authorizing the application for funding through the Tennessee State Museum Capital Maintenance and Improvements Grant. Third is consideration of resolution to approve Addendum 11 to the ESS South Central LLC Substitute Staffing Services Contract for Kingsport City Schools and authorizing the mayor to sign all applicable documents. Fourth is consideration of resolution to accept donation of various items from Friends of Allendale. And fifth is consideration of a resolution to apply for and receive state board programming re-grant. Mayor, I'd ask that you approve these as presented unless one would like to be pulled for additional discussion. I would add, I'd like to extend our appreciation to the Friends of Allendale for a very generous donation to that facility. A longstanding, very positive relationship with that organization.
What is a re-grant?
Fancy name for a grant.
Okay,
That's what we've determined after about 2 weeks of looking at it.
I'm sorry, I was.
Somebody got the merit pay increase for that. Are there any members that wish to have one or more items pulled for separate discussion? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented by the city manager?
So moved.
Okay. Do I have, it was moved by Alderman Oldham. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the vice mayor. He does that, but never mind. Is there any discussion, further discussion? If not, all those in favor, I'm sorry, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye to all five.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye to all.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye to all.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye to all.
Alderman Alterman,
Aye to all.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye to all.
Mayor Shaw.
Aye to all 5 items, therefore they pass unanimously. Mr. City Manager.
Don't have anything, Mayor?
Really? Just happy to be here, right?
Happy to be here.
Okay. Let me start with Darrell Duncan.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And so just a few brief items here. I really appreciate everybody's support in recent elections. And so just really, it's very humbling. And so really appreciate that. Congratulations to Mayor-elect Montgomery. And, you know, despite us having a competitive race, I think it says something about our board and friendship here. And, you know, there was a lot of name calling and a lot of different things going on with other races around us. And for us and the races that we ran and during our campaigns, I mean, it was always very supportive for everybody that was on the board from everybody else. So I think that tells something about the character of our board. So just appreciative of that. And then we had Christy here, and so this weekend is the Tomato Fest. So that starts Saturday morning, I think, goes from 9 to 12. So for your biggest tomato, or you dress your tomato up, just bring it on, and so it's judged. So appreciate it. That's all I got.
Darrell, congratulations on your reelection.
Thank you.
Ms. Betsy.
Appreciate it.
Don't have much. I just always am glad to see when we pass things about our library for so many years has been put aside, but it's good to see that that project is moving along. So I'm proud of the work that staff has done to keep our library project on track. Also, this is the last week if you're a season ticket holder at Dobbins Minute to pick up your season ticket. So you have, I think, until Friday, and they're open to the public. So if you're a season ticket holder and want your football tickets, be sure to get up there and pick them up.
Old Tribe.
That's right.
Is that it, Ms. Betsy?
That's it.
Thank you. Paul, congratulations on your election.
Thank you. I'm humbled by the vote and support of the citizens, but also I am appreciative of Colette, our vice mayor, who ran an excellent race. I had a lot of respect for her going into it. I've got even more respect for her now, sitting beside her, campaigning with her. We showed people how we can campaign as opponents, still talk, and still work together. So I think that speaks well for this board, it speaks well for our state, our city, and thank you for your participation in this race. I appreciate you. The thing that we do need to think about is if we want to change our election from August to, back to a May timeframe, because it's hot out there.
Y'all can talk about that in September, right?
It's hard going door to door in the heat. But I'm grateful for that. Healthy Kingsport gave out 1,000 bottles doing Fun Fest. We gave out water bottles. And again, thanks for city staff and those workers doing Fun Fest time. And again, we had another fantastic Fun Fest that went without a hitch, and we're all pleased with that. The second annual Walk and WAG took place by Healthy Kingsport and Barkbound. They had 65 dogs who walked their best friends a mile on the Greenbelt. And starting at noon tomorrow, each week there's a walking club for seniors 50 plus at the Fort Henry Mall. So if you want to go and join the club tomorrow at noon, it begins tomorrow. That's it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. James, congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, so I just want to say I appreciate being reelected. I hope that when I was reelected that people voted for me because they feel like that work hard for Kingsport and I won't pull any punches. So with that said, I want to make some comments on what was said earlier today about the homeless situation. I know Daryl, Colette, Paul, and I have probably got this more than anything along the campaign trail, and every one of you up here probably hates it when I get on a soapbox, but I'm going to get on a soapbox for just a second, and I'm not going to say anything that I haven't said in any election forum or anything, but, you know, in the 5 years that I've been an alderman, I have heard about the homeless situation 5,000 times. I have had one person in 5 years come and speak to me or ask to talk about it or ask for solutions. And that was within my first 6 months of being in office. But yet, year after year, we have people that come into these meetings with their video cameras to do their gotcha moment, and then as soon as public comments are over, they're out the door. So what does that tell you about what their real motivations are and are they really looking for a solution or are they really looking for a gotcha moment? Now, if they're looking for a solution, you know, there are 70 plus places in the city of Kingsport that help the disadvantaged and the homeless. There are 14 food pantries just located in downtown Kingsport. There are five shelters that house the unhoused in downtown Kingsport. As of today, none of those were full. So what more, I mean, if we were overflowing, our shelters were overflowing, then I can understand some of these issues, but we have beds available in this city. Now, I see people keep coming up and they say, the city needs to do this, the city needs to do this, the city needs to do this. I have yet to find a city the size of Kingsport in the United States of America that owns and operates a homeless shelter. It's not part of the city's mission. We cannot afford to do that. We would have to raise taxes so high that nobody could afford to live here. So, you know, in this city, we have an amazing safety net with all the organizations that I mentioned. If you and your family are on hard times, we have places for you to go. The issue becomes following the rules and getting into those places. If you can't stay off drugs and if you can't stay off alcohol and you can't follow the rules of the shelter, they're not going to let you into these shelters. And people come here and people get you in the streets and they talk about all these bad situations that are going on. But what I never hear people talk about is the child that writes an essay in middle school about how he's afraid to go to the library now because his family was accosted out front. Or the children that were at Carousel Park when a man takes off all his clothes and starts running around the park. Or the toilets, the amount of taxpayers' money we're having to spend to fix restrooms around this city because they are burned to the ground on a monthly basis. Nobody ever wants to talk about that. And then we have people that come up and say, you know, they're all filling up our hotels, okay? I'm not great at math. I'm pretty decent at it. $448 a week comes to $1,792 a month rent. The most expensive one-bedroom apartment in the city of Kingsport is $1,300 a month. So I get that we don't have that we do have affordable housing. I get that there is an affordable housing issue in the country, but I'm building apartments right now, and you can't tell me what affordable housing is now. What I paid a plumber 5 years ago has gone up 2.5 times in 5 years. So what affordable housing was 5 years ago, a person cannot build new construction and it be affordable housing. The only way to get affordable housing now is through government subsidies. And I can tell you, I think everybody on this board realizes that we have an issue with KHRA. And they were here and they spoke, and Chris, I would really like for them to come back and provide an update on where we are with all the things that we ask for. Because we have some things that KHRA is probably not doing right, that could be doing better, and I've asked for 4 years for solutions, and we still don't have them. We had a serious meeting 6 months ago, maybe, and I would like for them to come back and present now. I think we probably do have some people that fall through the cracks, just like every other city does, but I'm just, at this point, tired of hearing the city of Kingsport's name slandered about we don't do enough when, we have a homeless liaison, we have a social worker, are hiring or have hired at least 1 or 2 more of those. We are out there doing what a city can do, but at the end of the day, it is not our job to build shelters around town and make the taxpayers as the citizens of Kingsport pay for it. And, the last thing I'll say is when somebody gets up there and says that there are no young people involved in the city or doing anything, I take offense to that because there were 50 Girl Scouts here today that are asked, their first question was, what can we do to be better leaders and to be better citizens of Kingsport? So to come in here and say that there are no young people that want to be or are involved anymore is ridiculous. And that's all. Thanks.
Thank you, James. Tommy?
Amen. I'm gonna go with James. I'm gonna say amen to that.
You concur with his?
Yes, I do.
His
Well, I'm
viewpoint.
gonna end up my little talking about Dogman's in football. It's probably gonna be a rough year for the old Indians this year.
Rebuilding
But we
year.
never know. Yeah, we never know. I talked to Coach Christian the other night. He seems to think he's gonna have his boys ready. I hope he does.
Coming to Quantico Friday.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I got to report. If it's a bad report, I'll get it next week. Because that next week's my last one.
Hang in there, Tommy. Roll Tide. Vice Mayor?
Well, I want to congratulate Paul, Daryl, and James, and welcome Morris to our board, and I'll be real excited to serve with you all, and I appreciate what you said, Paul. I do think that we campaigned well together.
We did.
And I think we saw what we don't need to do. So I was very pleased with the way the citizens, the way the people that ran for these local positions participated together, and I'm excited for the next couple of years to see where we go. And I agree with James that, again, I think that when we have these groups come, we need to have some just information to hand out, because there is list of resources, and there's a lot of people that are there to help. And I think the average citizens hear a statement or see something on Facebook, and they don't understand how many wonderful groups and organizations we have that are dedicated to helping the citizens of this area. And we need to be, able to provide that list quicker and more often when these people come, and give it out to the citizens so that they understand what all is being done and where best to use their resources if they want to be involved. So I think Fun Fest was great. I think we had a wonderful time at it. I appreciate all the work the city staff did on that. I know they always jump in and spend a lot of their time making sure that our city looks beautiful, presentable, and that the day after the concert, you can't even tell that we had all those people downtown. I know we've had a lot of different people here for different events, and I think the city looked great. We've had our share of rain now that we're about caught up. But I'm good with everything, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you. Okay, well, James, I was gonna speak to this homeless issue. I'm trying not to repeat what you said. About 4.5 years ago, I began a weekly update, email that I send out to citizens. I'm sure thousands of citizens see it either by receiving it directly, or they receive it from a friend who sends it on, or they see it on social media, whatever. I did that because we were in a pandemic, and it was hard to communicate with folks during the pandemic, as y'all remember. And I've addressed this issue several times about the homeless. Now, the folks tonight, I'm not questioning their motivation or their sincerity, but they did state several things that just factually were not correct. I don't know that because they don't understand that, or they were trying to distort the picture. The homeless issue came up several times at the campaign. Four of these folks on the board here, my colleagues, campaigned, and were in many forums, and were asked questions about it and so forth. This board has a responsibility toward all our citizens, particularly our taxpayers. We have a very well-defined mission as to what we do. We have police, we have fire, we have public education. It's a very traditional mission, all the things we do. Homeless is something that about 6 or 7 months into my time on the board, we decided to hire a social worker and to partially fund a liaison, a homeless liaison. They've done great work. They've helped several individuals. I believe as a Christian that all human life is precious, but I also believe that individuals have personal agency. They can make decisions. Sometimes they make bad decisions, whether it be to abuse drugs or alcohol or whatever. But I think that within our stated mission, that the city has done a lot of good with homeless, and we've tried to meet the expectations of the majority of our citizens in this regard. I guess that's about all I want to say. We'll keep on keeping on. We're adjourned. Thank you.